Welcome to the Foil Life Podcast, where we talk about foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy these great sports.
Apart from that, life has been good.
Yeah, I can't complain. Life's good, yeah.
Nice.
And then, right now I'm just trying to recover quickly for the next weekend when I'm doing the stand-up paddle M2O, you know?
Yeah, that's going to be a big one.
Yeah, that's really the tougher one.
How many hours is that one going to take?
Yeah, I don't know. My best time was 5.5 hours. So, but I think anything under 6 hours is usually pretty good. It really depends on the conditions. Good conditions. I always try to break my own record, but it's not easy.
No, I can imagine. Holy man. Now, what's the cadence? Are you taking breaks every so many miles? Are you just, it's like, how is that? I can't even imagine paddling for that long.
So you have to have a escort boat, and then you try to keep moving as much as you can. But like when I fall in is when I kind of take a little breather and eat something or drink and eat. Usually drinking while paddling, but eating something. And then usually you need like 2 full backpacks full of water, or sometimes 3. Mm-hmm. So then you just swap it out with the boat and get a new bag of water, and keep eating calories and and just kind of focus on using the energy of the ocean. That's probably the most important thing. And controlling the breathing, not getting too excited, not getting too frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of
conserving your energy.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is just a mental game, when you're paddling that long. And wing foiling, it's finishing in under 2 hours is crazy fast compared to stand-up paddling. So
yeah, congratulations.
It's a whole different mind game. Like once you see Diamond Head or Port Lock, when you're wing foiling, it's like, I'll probably be at Port Lock in like 20 minutes, and then I'll be in Diamond Head another 20 minutes or whatever. So you can kind of split it up into smaller sections. But on a stand-up paddleboard, when you start seeing Port Lock, it's still you still got like hours to go, So, and then it seems like it's not getting closer, and the water gets really rough out there, and yeah, it's hard. It's a hard race, but I miss the training for it and getting in shape for it, is because it's like the endurance training you have to do, or just the endurance you have to do that race is way more challenging, I think, than wing foiling.
Mm-hmm. No, I can imagine. Like you finished in, it's 1 hour and 52 minutes. And just to put it in perspective, Marley Franco, male, under 19, 1 hour 47. And Cash, male, under 19, 148. So like, 4 minutes.
Pretty close, yeah.
Off the young guns, which are ripping super high up in contenders in a lot of competitions. So that's huge.
Yeah, and then Livio was kind of, I saw him in front of me. I was chasing Livio, trying to chase him down, but yeah. And then after I finished, I was sitting there at the finish line for like 10 minutes before a jet ski picked me up, and no other wingers came through for over 10 minutes. So it was kind of a long pause after that.
Oh yeah, it was 152 to 209. So yeah, exactly 17 minutes. Yeah, 52.
And then I think Lily finished next, right? Yeah, and this was. Are we already interviewing now, or is this already?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay. But what was super cool. Like when I finished, my feet were really sore, so I couldn't really it hurt just to walk around and stand up. So I just went home and sat on the couch, and then I was watching the replay. So they had like a, 2.5 hours of live TV in Hawaii. And you can watch it on YouTube, the replay of the race, and it was really cool to watch it. Like that's the first time ever that they did a live coverage of the race, So it was really fun to just kind of kick back afterwards and watch the replay, and then also the dot vision tracker where you can see the everyone's lines across and where you are in relation to everyone else, and kind of where I pulled away from other people and stuff like that. It's just fun, yeah, to watch all that, all the technology and the live coverage. It was really cool this year.
I dropped into the KT shop there, and Logan was competing in the M2M, so we were like watching to see how he was doing, and Kane and everybody else, and it was pretty cool to see all those dots kind of like flying across the screen, and it definitely has a lot more engagement. At least then you can kind of see what's going on.
For sure, yeah. The trackers are fun to watch.
You use your new Superfly, I assume?
Yes.
Is that what you're racing on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did that. I was using it in the M2O. I did have kind of a mishap at the, we went to, like, because we went to Maui, like, on the Thursday, the day before the M2M race, Maui to Molokai race. And we did a Maliko run, and everything went well. It was a great run. But then when I got to the beach, it was pretty windy, and I put my wing down and then my board down, and then my board, just the foil blew over, and the foil went right through my leading edge bladder and put a big hole into the bladder and the outer wing. And that was already in the afternoon. The next day was M2M race, and so I made a bunch of calls, and somebody always called Jeff at Kahanakai, I think that's what it's called, the shop over there, and then. He said, "Oh yeah, come down and I'll set you up." And he was sitting there by his sewing machine, and he was able to fix the wing for me. Like he fixed the bladder and then sewed the wing, and everything looked good. And he said, just check it in the morning. It's like right at the rip was right on the seam, so it's not a good place. It's hard to fix it and stuff like that. And but just so blow it up before you start the race and make sure it holds the pressure. So the next morning I was there at the start, the wing was pumped up, and then I checked it, and it was not fully inflated after like 30 minutes, so I put some water on it. It was like bubbling right at the repair spot. So then I rushed over to my friend Felipe. He was just about to put all his gear on a boat, and he had an extra wing, so he let me use his F1 wing. So I actually, for the M2M, I was using an F1 8-meter wing. So, but yeah, that was good. It was good to have a big wing.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So,
but obviously,
yeah, but then I was able to have a new wing brought over by a boat to Molokai, and then the M2O race I was able to race on our Superfly wing, 7-meter Superfly wing.
Oh, sweet!
And
now
that
those just came out, right? Like around April of this year. Is that right?
Yeah. We had like a pre-order thing that we ran at the end of the year, and then they came out in April, I think. Sounds about right. And,
what inspired the kind of design of this wing? Because obviously you're coming into the market in 2025, and wings have been around for a little while. You've had time to look at them. You've had time to analyze, I'm assuming, what you like, what you don't like. So what kind of went into the story of this particular wing?
Well, I mean, so we've been developing, we originally had the Alien wing, which came out several years ago. And so we did a lot of prototyping in the meantime, like trying all kinds of different stuff, and learned a lot from the designs and different profiles. And we definitely wanted to have some high visibility colors, because that's always a thing that's, for safety and being able to see someone from far away. So we used like really bright orange, red, and yellow colors to make it high visibility. But I mean, the performance and just getting the profile just right, and the canopy tension just right, and then the stiffness of the frame and making it compact. We have the wingtips turned in a little bit, so it's has a real compact shape, easy to handle. It has a lot of power. Goes upwind well, goes downwind really well, and just handles well on the wave. Easy to control when it's luffing. So there's a lot of things that you have to get right for the wing to work well.
Mm-hmm.
So we went through a lot of prototypes, and then we decided to go with a full boom as well, like, because just all the team riders were like, once they tried it, they were like, oh yeah, we got to do this, because then you can grab it anywhere. It's just way better. So we have like a long boom on it, and then just having kind of a low center of gravity. Yeah, it's a lot of things that went into that wing design, over time that we incorporated into it and came out with something that works really well, and not just for the top riders. I think it's also easy to use for like intermediate, and even beginners can use that wing. It's just real versatile. It has a wide wind range too. So,
and obviously the boom makes sense, right? Because everybody is using the boom now. Would there have been any reason to go to handles or even soft handles or anything, or boom was a no-brainer?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we did was the 2 handles, and that we tried, and the handles are a big improvement over the soft straps. The Alien Wing, our original one, had just the soft handles, and they worked well, but just you have way more control if you can, have a stiff boom that you can control with your wrist, and just like it just feels way more controllable. And I think also easier on your hands. It doesn't squeeze your fingers together like a strap can do. So it does take a little bit of getting used to the handles, but once you get used to it, the handles were really good. But then, the problem is that you don't have the good thing about the 2 handles is that you can fold it up small and you can pack it up in a fairly small bag. Problem with the long boom is that then you just have a longer bag like that. The bag behind me is our 7-meter bag. Is just like a pretty long bag. I mean, you can compress it, but because of the boom in the middle, it's going to always be a pretty long bag. But you can grab it anywhere. You can grab it with one hand in the middle and fly it with one hand if you want, or you can when you're tacking, you don't have to look behind you where to grab it. You just grab it wherever, and you always get the boom, So, and also coming from a windsurfing background, it just feels natural to have that full boom set up.
Now, looking at your boom, it looks like obviously there's a bit of cushion on it. Did you guys play with the different various thicknesses and attachment points? Because every single company comes out with different ones, and how, let's say, because the one I'm riding right now, I can kind of put my hand right at the front, and it's a super comfy little round around the boom, so you can kind of flag it that way. Did you guys take some time to think about how you wanted those attachment points and everything to go as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually that we have like a little neoprene cover that goes over the end points just to protect the handles, and also like if you flip your board and hits the board, if you flip the wing and it hits the board, it protects it from damage basically, So, yeah, and that's actually our distributor in New Zealand, Dan Regan designed that. He just sewed like from some neoprene. He sewed it up and it worked really well. So that was kind of a good idea. So we just asked the factory to do that. And that's Derek flying it in San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
Derek's one of our team riders, and he's like the Bay Area, and he likes to use that Y handle. Like, so we have like a little attachment point. He puts, when he's riding waves, he puts the wing on his shoulder. I think that day he wasn't using it, so it's not tight, but he puts the wing on his shoulder and kind of rides it on the upwind side. So he's like, Derek's a pretty amazing wing foil surfer, and so we made a little attachment point for him.
Oh, cool.
And then our other team rider Koa does like these moves where he switches, he basically does a flip and then he switches his hands on the boom. So for that too, he really wanted to have a full boom wing. So
for waves, I enjoyed the simplicity of the soft handles just because I didn't need the wing quite a bit and I'm not like jumping or anything. But now that I'm using a boom all the time, it's just so easy for transitions. Adds a little bit of the stiffness of everything. I'm really enjoying kind of just transitioning to that. Now looking at canopy tension, because there's kind of a trade-off. Some wings are extremely tight, so their low end is not as low, but are really good in the upper wind range. Other ones do allow for a little bit more pump and grunt. Where would you say that this wing falls into if somebody's looking for a light wind wing or maybe a higher wind wing?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely we went with like basically full tension in the canopy all the way through. There's not a lot of loose fabric on the swing anywhere. I found that with the proper pumping technique, you can generate a lot more power that way. So even in light wind, I find it more efficient. And in stronger wind, you have less flappiness, basically less flapping around. I guess the only disadvantage I found with having a lot of canopy tension is that even when you luff the wing, it's kind of still has a profile, so it has a little bit of it's like you almost have to steer the wing a little bit in the air, like versus a wing that's really floppy. When you luff it, it just kind of sits there and flops. It doesn't have a profile anymore, so it kind of just sits there. So I would say that's probably something you have to get used to. So when you're luffing it, it'll still fly basically. So when you're on a wave, you have to kind of steer it the way you want it to go, for it to fly the way you want it to go, because it doesn't completely luff out and just flop around,
A lot of wings are like that, and I think the more the wing is like that, the more they're designed for a little bit of freestyle or free riding kind of thing. Because I've tried a whole bunch of different wings now, and everybody just chooses a different way to build the wing based on what the characteristics that they're looking to get out of it. I don't think there's a right or wrong, obviously, anymore. It's more just so the design characteristics that you guys want, and you like this kind of riding style. So it's cool to find out a little bit more about that. One interesting point that I saw is you're going with the one valve inflation and just hooking up with hoses. Now, there's a lot of people that are doing twos. Can we talk about what was the reasoning behind one?
Well, I mean, okay, so the reason, like we tried the two valves too, or we had two valves on some of the wings, and I guess having one valve, it makes it more convenient because you only have to inflate one valve. Also, it's less failure points because the valve is a place that leaks a lot of time. You can still lock out the tubes. So it has like these two tubes, right? So, and then another advantage of having these tubes on the center strut, having two tubes, it also keeps the bladder in place, so it can't shift around as much. So if you only have one attachment point and then the string in the front, sometimes the bladder can kind of fold in on itself, and then there's been, especially in the older model wings, there's been a lot of bladder failures in the strut because of when you hang it up to dry and it folds in on itself and then it creates a bubble or something and it pops. Yeah. So that's been an issue with the bladder moving around. So I found with the two tubes, it keeps it in place and it's still easy to deflate and inflate, and you can lock it out. So if you have a leak in one, it's not going to affect the other, So,
no, that's cool. But obviously it did pretty well in racing, right? Considering you guys finished, obviously yourself finished really, really well, but then also you're boasting on your website. Let me see if I can find that. Top 5 in M10, and then obviously top 10 last year as well, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, last year, I forget if I finished 6th or something, and then Derek Hama was right behind me, and he was also using the same prototype Superfly wing. So, and then Eli this year was also in the top 10. So, yeah, we have good team. I think he was top 10, but he was. For him, I think the wind was a little bit light. Eli's a big guy, but yeah, I mean, the advantage of for racing, downwind racing, I pretty much always use a 7-meter wing, even if it's super windy, because once you turn downwind, you just need all the power you can get, because the relative wind, if you're going with the wind on a bump or whatever, you almost don't feel the wind anymore because you're going as fast as the wind, even if it's on a windy day, So sure. It's like more kind of apparent wind from your movement. So having a big wing seems to work really well for the downwind racing. Big wing in your hands, a small wing underwater.
That gets you some speed. What materials did you guys go with, and why did you choose them?
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing with the a lot of people going with the Alula leading edge and strut, or one or the other or both. For our wings, we just went with Dacron because I find like over time, it holds up better. It's not as light as the Alula. I mean, the Alula definitely has some advantages, I think, for super high performance. But like, especially if you're using it in waves, and the way we use the wings is a lot of wear and tear. It just holds up way better. The Dacron holds up better. It's less expensive, so more affordable, and easier to repair, less likely to, Alula. I've seen some wings after a couple seasons, the material starts to kind of delaminate, and then it's very difficult to repair. And if it's like rips around the valves and stuff like that, I just feel like the longevity and the high cost of it, for the average winger, I don't think it's worth the cost, the extra. It's I feel like you're better off just using the Dacron, which is very strong and good material.
Tried and true. Yeah. And did you guys look at Dyneema or any of the other kind of materials that fall outside of Alula?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the other ones. I mean, but basically they're all laminates between, with Mylar and material laminated in between. Mm-hmm. So, and then the problem with that is over time that it can delaminate basically, and it's harder to sew the material as well. So that's why we went with the Dacron fabric for the leading edge and the strut.
Okay, that's cool. What would you say your ideal target market is for this wing? Beginner, intermediate? Obviously, you got some advanced riders. Mm-hmm. Was it designed for a particular market, or can it kind of help everybody?
Well, I mean, I designed it with the team riders in mind. Obviously, they're the ones that gave us the input. So I would say we designed it for the more advanced riders. As a performance wing, but I think it's pretty versatile for, like, I think you can totally use it as a racing wing and also in the waves, so that in terms of that, it's not super specialized for one or the other. It has a pretty beefy leading edge and a very rigid frame. So it's a lot more rigid than most wings. So I think that maybe takes some getting used to for some people. There's not you can't when you're pumping it, you get like really direct feedback, but that's how you're able to kind of pump up even on a much smaller wing. Like our Koa pretty much always uses this 3-2, even when other people are like on 5 or 6 meter wings. You can just kind of get that thing going by pumping it super fast, So,
cool.
But yeah, so I mean, I think it works really well for the high performance riders, but we've also had a lot of people that gave us really good feedback that are more like intermediate or even beginners, so but yeah, I mean, I guess our target market is more the intermediate and advanced riders for this wing, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. And your sizes are 3.2 to 7? Yes. It's a good wide range.
3.2, 3.8, 4.5, 5.2, 6 meter, and 7 meter.
And it's a good call, actually, with the high vis. It's the first time we've actually literally talked about this, but it does make sense. Especially the more that wing pops out.
Yeah, like blues and greens and whites and stuff. When you have them out in the ocean, they kind of disappear, So, and that's like if you end up breaking something or stuck out there somewhere, you want people to be able to find you, right? So the high visibility wing, and also just sometimes when you see a friend, you can these wings, you can see them from a mile away. It's like, oh, that's Rob over there, because you can see by the color. Or that's Eli. I see Eli. Eli coming in. Other wings, you can't really tell what. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think high visibility colors is definitely something everybody should have just for safety, at least as an option. If somebody wants the pretty colors, that's fine. But I mean, they should at least offer that as an option for the open ocean people that want to do stuff where you want to be able to be seen easily.
Yeah, that makes sense. Either high vis orange, high vis yellow, all those kind of things. What does your wing come with? Obviously, there's one bag back there, so it's a long, kind of more tube-like bag. What else does it come with in your wing package?
Yeah, so it also comes with a little repair kit, which has extra parts, like extra tubes and patch material for the wing and the bladder. So the repair kit, and then a wrist leash that you can also use as a waist leash. Attach it to a waist belt.
Okay,
that's how I use it, usually with a waist belt.
Yeah, you like that better? Yeah.
Yeah, and we just came out with this new. I wanted to show this one too. This is like a new retracting leash system. I think I just sent Frank that one. Right? To, Frank, your partner in Europe. Yeah. I just sent him one of these. But yeah, this use this with a shock cord attached to the board, and then a belt that you can also use as a harness belt. So and then you can also attach your wing to the harness belt. So this, it's obviously high performance because it keeps the leash out of the water. The leash never drags in the water, but it's also for safety. Like if you have a wipeout and you fall forward with a short leash or even a coil leash, the board's going to start flying after you. And there's been a lot of people getting injured by their foil from having a leash that's too short.
True.
In either hitting you or your wing. So by having the leash that extends 14 feet away from you, and if you're in a wave, getting worked by a wave, the wing's going to be closer to you, the board's going to be further away, so it keeps the board and the wing apart while it's getting worked in the wave. So just for that, safety, protecting your equipment, protecting your body, it really makes a lot of sense to use these leashes. And that's, we used to sell the Oceanus leash, which looks more like this one here. So, and then that business, they retired and they stopped selling them. So for a long time, none were available. So we're actually re-engineering a new version of this one as well. But
cool.
and then so we're gonna have two different options for retracting leashes. So this is something that I think every winger should be on, and even for downwind foiling, it makes sense, and surf foiling. To have that for safety.
How's the retract on it? Because I know there were some of the early ones, they recoiled pretty aggressively. Were you guys able to solve those kind of design issues?
Yeah, there's actually, we have these ones, you can get two different springs for it. And I actually, we went with a stronger spring because over time, a lot of times the Oceanus leashes got weak. The spring kind of got weak over time, so it doesn't retract all the way anymore and things like that.
Okay.
And I feel like, this one actually seems like the tension is pretty strong, but when you're on the water, you don't even feel it, and it's like it takes a while for the board to kind of slowly come back to you, and in a way that I like it because. It gives you some time. If your wing's flipped over after a wipeout, you can flip the wing back over, and then the board kind of slowly gets pulled back to you. And by the time you're ready, then the board's right next to you. So it's not like it slingshots back to you; it comes back real slowly. But the reason we made the lighter tension springs is that for some people I guess some kiters use it. Which I don't really recommend it for kiting because it's just dangerous to have that board attached to you if you're flying through the air, right? But even with the long leash, it can fly back at you basically. And but with a lower tension spring, it takes longer for it to basically come back to you. And if it's a really light, like a twin tip kite board, then it makes sense to have a lower tension spring, I think.
That makes sense. All right. Okay. Yeah. What kind of materials? Obviously, plastic housing, plastic casing, reinforcements in there, because I've seen some of the wing harnesses that were just plastic around a pin would eventually break. So maybe could we see it a little bit more, how you kind of thought that through?
Yeah, this
there we go.
This one has a steel pin inside, and then it has a covered spring inside, and it has like a port where you can put oil inside. And then
cool.
this one is as like a lubricant in between the inner spring housing and the outer housing. And then like you can rinse it out with there's a hole at the top and the bottom. And then this one just kind of, the belt just kind of slides through behind goes through the side tabs.
Frank loved it, by the way. He really enjoyed using it. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. And then actually with this thing too, you can adjust the length of it as well.
Oh,
so you can make this so it doesn't fully retract basically. But you should always use it with a shock cord, because that keeps it, like if you hit the end of this, like if your board gets pulled by a wave and you hit the end of this, there's like a sudden stop, right? So if you have the shock cord that has like a rubber inside, so that kind of absorbs the shock at the end of when you hit the end of the coil. So that's
if you get worked on jaws or something.
Yeah, I mean, even a smaller wave can pull pretty hard. Can drag you pretty bad, So it's a big board, big foil, and so for that. And then also like just sometimes when you're going fast, like when I'm training for racing, sometimes when I have a wipeout and I fall forward, I'll use the wing to kind of keep me from hitting the water really hard, right? So by the time I hit the water, I'm like 20, 30 feet in front of the board, and I get yanked by the board while I'm still flying in the air, kind of thing. Sure. Even with a 14-foot long leash, So I can't even imagine trying to do that with a 8-foot leash or something like that. It's just super dangerous, And
pair
the forces, just the forces from that are pretty strong forces. You don't even need waves really.
It's true. Pair winging, I actually got the board to the face this year for the first time. I was using a coil leash, and it was the first time that actually got hit, and smacked me pretty good actually. It was bleeding and whatnot. So that kind of stuff, it makes complete sense. And I know Frank was gung ho to try it, and he got into the waves, I think, for the first time in Portugal, and that's what he was using. So he was pretty stoked on it.
So. Oh, excellent. Yeah, great. Yeah. I mean, anyone that's used a coil leash too, like knows that over time they wear out. So, I mean, you basically have to replace them every few months if you use them in waves or whatever, if they get stretched out. Then also they can have like that telephone cable salad. They get coiled in on itself, or they get coiled around your foil or your fuselage or whatever, or get tangled up with your wing leash. So I just, when I, first started winging, I was like, that's how I came up with, I'm going to try this retracting thing, and it just worked really well, because I hated the coil leashes were always a pain in the ass.
Fair. But, and some snap. What kind of price point are we looking at for that one?
So this one, the unit itself is, I think, retail $110 something. And then for the complete kit, which is what we sell mostly, I was going to bring one in here, but I don't have the complete kit. But it comes with a waist belt, shock cord. It basically ready to use is $180 for the kit. And then you can buy as an accessory, you can buy a harness hook, which is I think around $30, and then a wing tether for $6, a wing leash tether. So yeah,
nice.
Less than $200 for everything. And then you have a complete harness system. And
that makes sure your $6,000 investment doesn't float away.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
and keeps you out of the emergency room. I mean, my friend Todd Bradley recently had stitches in his head for the second time, and then he called me. He's like, "I'm going to get one of your leashes." And then since then, he's been turning all his friends onto them too, because it is a lot safer than having, especially. I mean, and he was like, "Yeah," and he thought about what happened, and he's like, "Yeah, it's because my leash was too short," So, yeah, that's what happened. Anyway,
especially here with the fact in Hawaii where the white water is pretty strong. So you definitely want to see if you can get that thing as furthest away from you as possible. So definitely a good addition. Running back over to your wing, what kind of price points are you coming in at with that wing? Because I know in the market there are some starting with low, and there's some that are about the same price as a Ferrari. So where did you kind of price your product?
Oh man, I'm so bad at remembering numbers, but if you have our website, maybe pull that up.
Sure.
The pricing, but yeah, it's around
Let me see.
It's around $1,000 for like the mid sizes. So yeah, it's not like, I know some of the Dyneema wings, they start at $2,000, right? So these ones are, I think the smaller ones are like around 800, and the bigger ones are like 11 or 1,200, and that includes free shipping in the U.S. too, and we will subsidize the shipping.
It's $889 for the 3.2 meter, $889, and then your 7 is $1,049. Most wings are starting at $1,000 to $1,500, so well done on that. And you're saying free shipping even in continental U.S., like back out in Nebraska and anywhere else like that, wherever there's wing foiling?
Yes. Yeah, anywhere in the U.S. Yeah, and then to Canada, we can ship it pretty inexpensively too. And then internationally, we can ship it as well. So we don't have a lot of distributors right now. We used to have more international distributors, but during the pandemic, we lost a bunch of distribution. So just trying to service most customers directly through our warehouse here in Hawaii.
All right. Okay. So they can just call you, or sorry, just buy right off your website.
Yeah. For international orders, they have to email us or call us, and we can get them a quote for the shipping. Because it really depends. Like, our website can't calculate the shipping, unfortunately, for international orders.
I'm assuming you guys are air cargoing and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the boards, we ship a lot of boards, stand-up paddle boards all over the world, and we use from Hawaii, because a lot of things get flown to Hawaii, and then the planes fly with very little cargo back. So we get really good rates flying from Hawaii to anywhere in the U.S. and most international places too. It's quite affordable actually for us to ship boards. They give us like a surfboard rate. So it's actually. We're kind of lucky because it's kind of competitive with shipping stuff on the mainland, or even So the air cargo,
and they actually get there pretty quick as well.
Oh yeah, within like 1 to 2 days. And then the only thing is that we can't ship door to door. It's just you have to pick it up at the nearest airport. I mean, the wings we usually ship by FedEx or whatever. Those go to your door. But for boards we'll ship air cargo.
I think the potential savings in that, because FedEx would be pretty expensive for something that massive, so that's pretty good. At least you're looking out for people that way too. Any other points that you'd like to add if somebody's hot into buying a new wing? Why should they buy your wing? Well, I just did really well in the Molokai with it. Yeah, no, that's true.
But I mean, another point that I think is worth mentioning, in this picture here, you can see how you can get it really low to the water, and it's super efficient. And I guess in this picture too, like the way it's shaped is like almost the wingtips are kind of turned, and see how the wide point is a little bit higher than the wingtips. True. So it helps from keeping the wing from hitting the water, so even with a 7-meter wing, I can hold it like really low to the water, and even if it does touch the water a little bit, it kind of glances off and it doesn't just like roll over, and just, I don't know, just that's something we're experimenting with too, and it just works really well, that shape of the tip. It's a little bit, nice. That's one of the things that's a little bit unconventional. And then we have a lot of seams that go, like, the seams go like horizontal, like we have seams going this way, and this way. And just having that part of that is that we found that over time the fabric itself stretches, but the seams keep it locked in together. So you have less stretching over time of the wing. With the seams going in all the stress directions, so they just last longer. They don't get flappy as quickly as other wings, and they have more tension to start with. So even wings after a couple of seasons, they still have like that nice tight feel to them.
Oh, cool! And you have little battens on there too, right? On the trailing edge.
Yeah, just one batten on each side, and that's just. I mean, really the designer I work with, he said, well, the battens are kind of a crutch. If you have to put like a bunch of battens on a wing, that means it's not designed well, because if it's flapping, it's just kind of really something wrong with the design. So by adding battens, you take away the flapping, but it's really the design should be, it should be tight enough that you don't need the battens necessarily. But I did find that just a short batten helps with just keeping that, keeping it from flapping when you go like overpower going upwind. Keeps it from flapping the trailing edge, and that's just inefficient if the trailing edge is flapping. You're basically losing that part of the wing.
Fair, because we've had like a month of 40 knots straight here in Maui. So I guess that would be...
Yeah, Maui in the summer is pretty nuts. I mean, it's kind of like fun. Hood River too. Like, I thought the 3.2 would be fine, but like everybody in Hood River on the windy days, they're using like 2.5s, 2.2s or whatever. So 3.2 is actually kind of big for a windy day in Hood River, Same thing in Maui, like some days.
Yeah, I was lit on 2.5, I think. I could have probably went 1.5 the other day, but that's that's when I switched to windsurfing. You can handle a lot more windsurfing. Well, Hey, Robert, thanks for coming on and bringing those two products to us. Could you just highlight your website again for people kind of listening in, and so they know where they can get them?
Yeah, sure. It's blueplanetsurf.com. And I guess if you're on video, you can just scan this QR code right here and get right to the page.
Oh, cool. There you go.
That's how it works.
Might as well.
And so I have this little flyer here. But, I mean, just a couple observations, I guess, like with what's happening on the stand-up foiling. It's amazing how fast that sport has grown, the stand-up foiling side of it, even more than the downwind, downwind stand-up foiling has grown so much, and in the last couple of years, just so many really good athletes and really getting into it. So that's really cool to see. I still really enjoy the wing foiling and just having to pump across the channel to me doesn't seem that appealing, especially at my age. It seems like a young man's game. For me, I can't get my heart rate at that high for like 2 hours. I don't think I could pull it off. But then also the para winging has really taken off. Like at Paddling Mua, they added a para wing division due to popular demand, and I think at the M2M they also had a para wing division. So that seems to be like like right now the fast growing thing is the para winging. And you said you've been doing it too, on Maui. So people are really getting into that. So I've heard people saying there's going to be a lot of downwind boards for sale now that people are. All the downwind foilers, stand-up foilers are going to get into para winging, so they're going to want mid-length board, a little bit shorter, more like wing boards, I guess, or wing racing boards. So that's just an interesting observation.
Yeah, have you seen that with the boards that are selling for you? Are people starting to look more towards that 5'8" to 6'2" kind of board range, maybe 18 to 21 kind of inches wide?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's kind of what I've been using. Like I started using a 5'8" by 21 inch wide wing racer, we call it. That's what I've been using for racing. And I just started using it for any light wind days because it's just so easy to get on foil with it compared to, a shorter, wider board or whatever. And then it has more flotation. And then that's what I would use for para winging. So yeah, and I think that's kind of where the market's going. People for a while were using like the tiniest board possible, like prone foil boards almost for winging, which is fun when you're up on the foil, but when you're not foiling and the wind is light, then it's terrible, So or
even in the waves. Like I was fortunate to be Maui here again in March, and I was riding a little bit bigger of a board because I'll have it in cold water as well. So a 70 liter for me. So it's like plus 4 or 6 to my kgs. And I would get out of trouble a lot quicker because my board was just easier to get started. But if I had been on a 55 liter or a sinker or something, at my intermediate skill level, people were just getting into more trouble. So it's like it's a apples and oranges. I guess it depends what you're looking to do, but I find that the new boards are so well designed that they hide the volume a little bit. So it's not as a big deal now to ride something where you could actually physically paddle in case something happens or get yourself out of trouble easier.
Right.
Because a lot of them were struggling with the 40 to 50 liter range.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just because you can use it doesn't mean that that's the best choice, you know. and then
True.
You know, also just like, you know, if it takes you 5 minutes to get back up on foil versus 1 minute, then you just have less time to enjoy winging, right? Enjoy being on foil and having fun. So I think just more realistic boards, you know, just are fun machines, you know. It's just more enjoyable for most people, I think.
I haven't tried paddling yet. I want to, but I'm curious as to what this parawing trend. Are you guys thinking about coming out with one?
You know, I've thought about it and looked into it. I think, and I've tried parawinging too, and it's harder than I thought it would be, to be honest. You know, like I thought I would be able to, like winging with a windsurfing background, I was able to actually learn it pretty quickly within a few days of doing it. Like, and parawinging, I can already tell that it's going to take me a little bit longer. I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out, but it has a very narrow wind range. You know, like you have to have the right size for the wind. You can't really depower it well. It takes a while. Like if you collapse it or it hits the water and you fall in or whatever, every time you restart it, it takes a lot longer than a wing. You just pop it up and get it over your head and you can get going again. With the parawing, you have to like get it settled, and then slowly the wind will pull it far enough where it catches some wind, and then you can slowly pull it out of the water. It's, you know, the pros make it look easy. They just throw it out there and poof, you know, but
they all do.
It's not always like that. So I don't know, but yeah, it's I'm still new to it, so I can't really say. But those are my first impressions of parawinging. But it's really cool to see them. Like on Maui, a lot of the parawingers is using like kind of their wing boards and small wing foils, the foils that they would use for wing foiling, and going pretty fast. You know, like not quite as fast as the wing foilers, but pretty fast downwind. So it seems pretty cool. But I mean, I think the biggest draw is just to use it as a tool to get up on foil and then stash it away and then have the freedom of foiling without a wing in your hands, you know?
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of people loving them. And you're right about, I'm just looking up here for Patalamua. Marley Franco tripped on the beach in his lines, but he would have won. We'll give it to John McCabe, but he finished in 24 minutes. Now let's see what the wing foil was, 18 minutes. So yeah, you're right. So parawing is pretty quick. Marley said I think he was going to hit close to 50 almost, I think his goal was 60 kilometers an hour. So like 30, 35 knots or something crazy. 40 knots, something insane. So like I know for the parawing did win that race in France, but I think so they're crazy fast. But obviously my experience was the same as yours. A little bit hard on the shoulders. It would yank you pretty good.
With one hand, right? Yeah.
Precarious. Now the Enzis I was using was awesome because they had a safety leash, so you could just pull it, and then it would just sit there in the water with the beelines pulled towards you, so it would kind of accordion the wing. I found I could get back on my board, pull it up, and then power it up. That was a game changer. I don't think I would be interested in holding onto this thing with no safety leash or nothing for an entire length of a period. That would be kind of tiring and exhausting. So that I did really enjoy the Enzis for that. There was some drawbacks from their first design, but their second one apparently is quite good. And it's the depower and then the safety and launching. And I got caught up in it a few times in Mexico. I don't see it being good in the waves. There's a few guys riding them at Kanaha, and they're kind of staying away. But if you, for example, fall in front of whitewater and then you get caught up in the lines plus caught up in, your foil is just like a nasty combination. So that I would recommend a little bit, exercise a bit of caution. And yeah, the wind range is still really small, but I'm curious as to what's going to happen in the next 2-3 years, because the first wings that came out were okay. They were like quasi okay, but now they've come such a long way. So I'm curious as to what's going to happen with this, and how much of the market is going to get into it. Like, we're not sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, where I can see it as a really cool thing, like there's some guys on the North Shore here now that are getting pretty good at just basically winging out, getting on the wave with the parawing, then putting the parawing away and surfing the wave without the wing, So
true. And then just like prone paddling back out of the impact zone, and then boom, going from there.
Well, yeah, or just relaunching the wing and getting
fair.
Yeah. I mean, basically, if you have a channel, then you can wing back out through the channel. So I got to disarm the alarm real quick.
That's all right.
It's automatically setting the alarm right now, so it's going to have the motion sensor going off. Hold on a second.
Just like a real movie. 3 seconds till meltdown.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Nuclear launch code. Anyway.
Apart from that, you've been good. Health is good. Family is good.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Did I mention, like, after the Molokai race, I said that I think that my feet were so sore that I could barely walk. I don't know. That's something, just holding the foil down with your feet the whole time, the whole race, and not moving much because locked into the foot straps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was what was the most sore on my body, was my feet for some reason. But I think I just have.
Well, no, mine go numb. If I go like 20, 30 minutes on one tack, my feet start to go numb, and I have to play with my toes and move them around. And I don't know how Erwan did that, and some of those other long distance foilers did those crazy long endurance feats. With, like, he did it right leg forward, so regular stance for that whole length of time. Like, how long did it take for your feet to recover? Because mine would have probably done the same.
Yeah, I mean, it took like a day or two.
Wow.
And then, But other than that, I mean, my back was fine. I was kind of concerned that my back would get sore, and then, because I'm racing again next weekend. So that's, I only have like 1 week to recover from the wing foiling and get ready for stand-up paddling. So. But yeah, I mean, for anyone that loves to wing foil, I think that to do those races, the Maui to Molokai, and then the Molokai Holokai, and because it's like a race on Friday, a race on Saturday on Molokai, the best part of the Molokai race, and then the Molokai to Oahu. It's just such a good adventure. Like, if that's a good goal to have, as if you're into downwind racing, it's super fun. It's a great adventure.
I heard the Maui to Molokai was like feasible for, let's say, weekend warrior-ish people that were fairly, because you don't need a boat, but it is a little bit more straightforward, right, than the Maui to Oahu, or the Molokai to Oahu, obviously.
Yeah, I would say definitely the Maui to Molokai is definitely more approachable. Mm-hmm. There were quite a few did not finishers on the Molokai to Oahu. And I think part of that is just because the water gets pretty rough and unpredictable, and the wind can get like kind of later in the middle of the channel, and there's currents and stuff like that. So it's definitely takes some preparation and practice. But but I guess as a first long distance race, the Maui to Molokai is just a really fun, good run.
Apparently, the
2 years ago. 2 years ago, there was like.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say 2 years ago on that run, there was like no wind at the end. So coming towards the pier at the Kanakakai, and at the end of the Maui to Molokai, there was like no wind, so everybody came off foil and was like swimming for a while before there was a gust. But so I was worried about that this year because the wind looked kind of didn't look so great, but then it ended up being really good all the way through.
Nice, not too bad. But you are looking forward to this full-on SUP. How many years have you been in that one?
I've done it like 12 times on the stand-up paddleboard, 12 years, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so plenty times. And last year I won in the 14-foot stock division. I won overall, which I'd never won it before. But it's just because there's not that many people doing it anymore. It's like there's no more really pro-sponsored riders doing it. They're not interested, I guess, or the sponsors don't want to pay for it. I guess maybe I don't know. It's just not as much of it's not as big of a market here for sure. Although I mean, stand-up paddling racing is still a big sport in Europe, and it's growing in Asia too. So, and it might become an Olympic sport. So there's definitely, I think there's still a lot of potential for stand-up paddling.
Yeah, I could see that as an Olympic. That would be especially paddling for sure. Wing, pair wing, all that stuff. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
that could be cool. Well, what's the age demographic of those? Like, do you have some young punks that are doing the paddling as well that are coming out for this race for just SUP?
I mean, it's kind of interesting because you always get international racers showing up that I'm not sure who they are, but yeah, it's always interesting to see who comes out. Like last year, there was someone from Brazil and someone from Peru that they finished first and second in the unlimited, and then I came in third overall in a 14-footer. So that was pretty cool. But
that's impressive. Man.
Yeah. Oh, I should show you this. Let me just show you this foil. So I had to decide whether I should use the Mike's Lab 600, which is 600 is pretty small for most people, right? But then this was my small foil, the 340. It's so tiny and so I ended up using this one I used this one for Maui to Molokai, but I should have been on this one really. It's just being able to go faster and have more control. So this is the Mike's Lab, and this is super tiny foil, but really fast. And that's I guess that's what allows you to control the the higher speeds when you're going downwind and stuff like that without keeping it in the water basically without overfoiling.
What mass are you
But then
going
it's
with?
always I have like a 103 centimeter mast. Yeah, 103. But I mean, there's always a risk, because like a lot of times there's places in the race, a lot of times the end of the race where there's no wind or gusty wind, or where you have to kind of get through a wind hole, maybe pump through a wind hole. And then if you just drop off foil for some reason and there's not enough wind to get going again, that's where having this really small foil is risky.
True.
But so a lot of times I've been playing it safe using the bigger foil, but then it kind of cost me in the end. Like, if the wind's good all the way through, I'm just like, damn, I should have used that small foil. But so in the Molokai race, I kind of just gambled and I took the small foil, but it worked. That's how I was able to keep up with those fast kids.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the longer mast, you're liking that? Just gives you more room for air?
Exactly. I mean, and if you're in the rough water, just being because if the water goes up and down and you can stay more level with your board, you're going to be going faster than having to follow the waves up and down. Because then you just going, especially going up with the foil. Like if you have to follow the contours up and down, that going up and down really slows you down, basically. So
you're not worried about obviously
straight through.
And your times are really good, so it's not like you're worrying about drag or thinking that a longer mast is going to slow you down, because clearly it's not.
Well, definitely. No. I mean, the long mast definitely has noticeably more drag, and especially if you're flying low to the surface, it definitely has noticeably more drag. So that's something you have to either fly higher on the foil to reduce the drag, but then you're, again, taking more risk, So, but you're moving so fast that I think, I don't know. I mean, I guess one of the things that I think that I do pretty well is just find the energy and go downwind as much as I can instead of going like full speed, going sideways to the wind, or at a 45-degree angle or something. I try to go a lot of times if I can get a bump, I go like straight downwind on the bump, where there's like no apparent wind, or almost have to hold the wing with the leading edge forward, because I'm almost like going faster than the wind, on the bump, going straight downwind. And then at those speeds, it's more about just control and not, not overfoiling or keeping the foil in the water. So I don't know, but you still work. I mean, drag is always the enemy, right? You want to have as little drag as possible, but also be able to control it. Yeah.
I use a 77 on Patalamua, my first ever, and I breached, I think, 4 times. But I think I would have gotten my time like down at least 5-10 minutes if I hadn't have fallen. And but even like I was riding waves at uppers yesterday, and I hopped on an 85. Obviously, it makes it's not that much bigger, but it's such a substantial difference when you get used to riding one mast versus another, and how big that difference is. I haven't ridden 100 yet, but I can only imagine that would give you a lot more. Yeah.
100 mast, it kind of sucks actually for wave riding, because
for sure.
It feels like you're on stilts, right? It's like
that'd be terrifying.
It feels weird. You like feel out of control and when you're turning and stuff. But I guess with the longer mast, you can really bank into the turns, because it just keeps the foil from coming out of the water and turn. You can just bank steeper turns and stuff like that. So for wing foiling, I usually use like a 90 mast for freestyle and waves and stuff like that. But yeah, it takes a while to get used to it. From 72 to 85, that's a huge jump. Like
it's pretty cool.
10
actually,
centimeters is a lot. But yeah,
I wouldn't think it would make that big of a difference. But when you're just comparing side by side, like you ride a wave one day and you ride something the next day, we actually get to test a lot, because pretty fortunate here to have wind and waves more often. But yeah, so you're going to rest up. Any kind of pre-game sort of stuff you're going to do this week to get ready for this race?
Not really, mostly resting. No. I mean, I might do a couple sprints or something like that, just to stay fresh, but eat healthy, get lots of sleep, recover, and be ready to go.
Awesome.
Well, watch out, everybody. I would highly recommend watching the live feed to anybody that's listening. Watch that live the event, the Molokai to Oahu show. That was really good. Like, the footage is great. Sponsored by the Coast Guard. They had like a Coast Guard helicopter. They had like a helicopter with a gimbal. So maybe put that link down in the description. Yeah, sure.
Can definitely do that.
That was cool to watch. I mean, it's a long race, but I thought that was pretty exciting to watch the whole thing.
Oh, cool. One of the first links is Armstrong's website, and you can they posted a link there. But yeah, definitely we can add that link.
Yeah, if the live feed or something. Yeah, I think it's posted on KHNL2 website and also on rogue.tv on their so there should be 2 links that you can go on, and it's on YouTube, so you can just watch it on YouTube.
Okay. Awesome, Robert.
There's a lot of ads, but they're good ads, at least for stuff
they gotta pay for it somehow. It's better than nothing. So hey, thanks for coming on and chatting, and I appreciate it, and especially because it's getting a little bit later here. But hey, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, I know, it's getting late. All right, Luke. Yeah, thanks for making time to talk to me, and we'll hopefully get to talk again at some point.
Sure, we will. Let us know how this race goes, and congratulations again. That's a pretty big accomplishment. That's cool.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
All right.
See you in the next one.
Aloha.